Fort Jesus Warriors Club. Topic: reforms to faith a must, or we lie to ourselves. I talked about the Christian faith in detail. I've talked of faith generally with evidence. Today I'm going to talk to a religion that I say is a brother, a twin brother or sister to the Christian religion. I'm going to talk about Islam. Same Messiah. But today I'm not going to talk about Isa and Jesus because they both share that. Isa bin Maryam, the Messiah. Jesus, son of Mary, the Messiah. Today I'm going to look at Islam. Yes, there are these times that people go during the pilgrimage and you go to Mount Arafat. And on Mount Arafat, it's every man with his God. You talk to your God, you cry to your God who knows you. Because nobody can know you better than God. It is during Judgment Day that we shall not even be aware of what will be happening around us. Because it will be your day and your God. And the way the Quran says, I am going by the Quran. Even Isa will be asked tough questions. Did I say that people should worship you? And Isa will tell God, I did not ask them to worship me. I told them about you and your worship, not me. So when we talk about this, we have to get to the hard realities. Just like any other religion, just like Christianity, there is that claim of righteousness. We are the best. Whatever we do is above board. But I'm also going to bring us the history. And this one is done not to look down upon that. I hold Islam in very high esteem. Because it means total surrender to God. Total surrender to God. So I start with the past. There are times when people have been put against the wall. When we talk about the visiting to the holy places, you know the history of circumambulation. When the people in the past, before Islam began, were in a tent, some place where they would go and a child was born, they would make that circumambulation. There were some worship shrines there, they would make that circumambulation. And that tradition comes from there. We know about the Kaabas and whatever. There were the 2 black Kaabas, there were 2 white Kaabas and a red Kaaba. But all of them were destroyed and 1 Kaaba was left. That one we know. Or to many people, they may not be aware, because what many people take, they simply take the readings, they never go to the history. So when we start, our beginning is the same. We both worshipped other shrines. I also remember that there are times when we've been tougher than normal to our fellow believers, because There is this man, people fear to mention his name because there may be a backlash. I'm not mentioning his name in his support or in his opposition. There is this man, Salman Rushdie. I think he got into problems when he went to the old verses. The daughters of Allah, those who will go to, the Muslims who are conversant with the history can tell you about that. That is what got him into the problems he is in. But we should remember also, just like any other religion books, Islam also underwent those changes, because you remember in the beginning, the worshipping was first in Jerusalem. And after Prophet Muhammad left, peace be upon him, Uthman came and authored most of the books. And those that were thought to be out of tune, those ones were banned until when the other copies, the genuine copies by Uthman, were left. Then there was a ban on mishandling or banning of any of the religious books. I know many people would not have liked to go to that, but we have to know that there were some of the things that happened that were filtered in that session. You may never find them because it was a worldwide thing during that time, that reign. But those are such a things that have gotten somebody like Rushdie, because I think he went through all that and came across that. We've been thinking also, because Christianity entered a violent phase when the violent cultures also from elsewhere were percolated to the Christian faith. The crusade, fighting with a fervor for God to go to heaven. You know, that believe on Valhalla, fight to die to go in the armies of the Lord. Know where that one came. It infiltrated into the Christian religion. Many Christians never believed that a crusade was real wars. Murder, kill, conquer, capture. That is how it was. And so also, when Islam began, the same thing infiltrated for righteousness, jihad. But it was for a purpose. Later, when rebellions came, I talked of sovereignty, and that was when the USSR was there, and it decided to change Afghanistan into a communist country, and then power, posing USA, could not take on, because that was a capitalist country, could not take on Russia direct. They stirred up that further of fight. That's where we got the very violent nature of Islam. Islam wasn't violent that much. Islam, jihad was fought with a purpose. In fact, the most gentle religion, if you go to history, even the one that preserved the history, the literature, everything that we have, is Islam. Islam was so liberal. That's why there are so many scientific discoveries. Even in medicine, Abyssinia was a Muslim, I think, yeah. And Islam is a religion that, when it took place, it never destroyed. In fact, even when they took over the Christian capital of Byzantium, it was left that those who wanted to be Christians could remain Christians. Those who wanted to convert to Islam would convert to Islam. That was the nature. They would wage war, but they would not force their faith into you. They would leave you to decide on the faith. They were generous. They were good in all aspects. We've come to a position where sometimes we have maligned the name of Islam, because Islam's jihad is jihad with a purpose. And nowadays it is spiritual jihad, behavioral jihad, jihad of change of things. I'm talking about this because I talked about the Nairobi bomb blast, the very first attack that Kenyans saw, done by people who claimed to be Muslims. I didn't know that time that it was Al-Qaeda, because the name Al-Qaeda came when people were talking about Iraq and Afghanistan. I didn't know that it was Al-Qaeda that made that attack in Nairobi. But it was construed around the world, the Muslim terrorists. That is what it was. Created a very bad impression, but that is not what Muslims are. Muslims are law-abiding, God-loving, reasonable, firm to the faith and the truth. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because there are times in our fervourness, in our attempt to impress, we sometimes leave a bad name for religion. I'm talking against this place where we make people become total radicals without reasoning. It has brought a bad name sometimes. I sometimes refer to something that many people would hate to refer to. This altercation between Rafah and the nation of Israel. Everybody will take his stand. But being a Muslim, being an non-Muslim, even Turkey that time made its observation how it began. I'm not only talking of the world. Okay, whatever the repercussions, I'm not also supporting them. Because terrorism, violence don't augur well. But I'm trying to bring us to that scenario. These are, you remember when we saw the book of Jasher? You are all children of Rebecca. We could not find the lineage anywhere. Live like brothers and sisters in the Middle East and across the world. Christians and Muslims are not enemies. They have got the same roots. And not only those, Islam is a religion that respects everybody. I'm talking like that because we share the roots. A Muslim and a Christian, it was only the misunderstanding and the radicalism that had been put in us that made us differ. But the beliefs are almost similar. Isa, son of Maryam, Jesus, son of Mary. Messiah. See? One God. So this is a call to my Muslim brothers and sisters. Many of you live exemplary lives. I remember there was a friend of mine who came and had lived in Mombasa. And we talk of devoted Muslims. There are those devoted, there are those who pretend to be Muslims. Once they put on that white and but whatever they do is that. But he was telling her, those who are devoted, They don't have to tell you I'm a Muslim. They don't have to tell you I'm a believer. You see their lifestyle and you get converted. They don't have to tell you much. You just see their lifestyle. It talks. Let's have a lifestyle that talks like most of the Muslims are. Let's be Muslims that people would look at and say, yes, I want to be like him. I want to be like her. That is what the prophet, peace be upon him, wanted people to be. That's why he said, if something wrong is happening, talk about it. But be knowledgeable and be true. Don't try to convince people. Let your lifestyle convince people. My appeal to the world, to the Muslims, a very good religion, a very good belief in God. Let's be real. And the world will learn to respect by seeing. Let's not bring situations where any crime, even something where a Muslim has not been involved, when it happens, people start asking, a Muslim again? Islam is not for crime. Islam is for law and order. Islam is for justice. This is a call to true Muslims to rise up and show an example to the rest of the world that Islam is a gem. That's my take.